say that Eva Bartlett herself joins the programme to explain what she's been going through. Eva, welcome. As I just mentioned, some say Mirotvorec is a kill list with those on the site targeted by Ukrainian radicals. How worried are you, first of all, that you may be in serious danger by having your information added to the site?
I'm, as you may know, I'm residing in Russia, so I feel a certain degree of safety, at least being here. Were I living in Canada, where I grew up and where I am a citizen of that country, I would be more worried because I think it's pretty well known by now that the Canadian government has a very close relationship with Ukraine and with the Nazi battalions within Ukraine, funding Ukrainian military endeavors up to $1 billion, I believe. And Chrystia Freeland, our deputy prime minister, her grandfather was a Nazi collaborator, and that is open information by this point. And in, I believe it's in Western Canada, there is a fairly significant faction of ultra-nationalist Ukrainian supporters. So were I in Canada, I would be quite worried about my well-being, because I don't believe for a moment that the Canadian government would protect me from any of these ultra-nationalist extremist types that would seek to harm me because they see me as a threat to their country. A CBC journalist has been trying to reach out to me, saying that he would like to interview me on my work in the Donbass and on my participation in an international tribunal on Ukrainian war crimes in Moscow in early April, I think it was. Now, what I'd like to say about that is I don't believe for a moment CBC would ever give me a fair hearing on their platform. They are Canadian state-funded media. They do the bidding of the Canadian government and the corporate interests. But also, I think the only way that this gentleman could have found out that I had participated in this tribunal, because I did not share it on any of my social media platforms, is that he saw the kill list, the Ukrainian hit list entry on me, which does specify my participation on that panel. So what I'd like to point out is he did not at one point in his email mention, he's appalled by the fact that I'm listed on this kill list. He didn't say anything about it, but clearly he's seen it. That's the only way, in my mind, that he could have been aware of my participation in this tribunal. So CBC is whitewashing Ukraine's kill list and instead seeking to inflame the fact that I participated in a panel that rightly calls out Ukraine's war crimes against the people of the Donbass.
Well, Eva, it's probably worth pointing out to our viewers, maybe giving some background on it. Sites like Mirotvorec, the purpose they claim to fulfill. Can you expand on that? Indeed, a big question about whether these sites should be allowed to operate at all.
Yeah, so basically I wrote about, I'm just going to, pardon me, look at an article I wrote last year. And so there have been journalists whose names were listed. These were Ukrainian journalists, Oles Buzina. All his personal details, including his home address, were posted on the website. And I'm not sure at some point after that he was assassinated. And he's not the only journalist and person listed on the site that have been killed or disappeared. The Ukrainian authorities are well aware of the site. It was at least at the time in 2014 when it was created, the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Anton Gerashenko, was apparently one of the people behind the creation of the site. And at some point in 2015, a commissioner for human rights, Valeria Lutkovskaya, was trying to have the site shut down. And she was threatened with her own, losing her own work, and also told by this Gerashenko that, you can't, essentially you can't interfere with the priority, the prerogatives of the safety of the state of Ukraine. Zelensky is also aware of it, and then the irony is that he basically said he did not want to interfere with media and journalism. Now that's extremely ironic, because that's precisely the goal of this site.